All right. Good evening and good night, and welcome to the It's Your Perspective Talk Show. It is Wednesday, March 9th, 2016. My name is David, a.k.a. Kimber, a.k.a. Christian, alongside
Soup?
Yeah, Soup, we're back.
Yes, I.
Blazing the trail, man. I just want to say this is It's Your Perspective Talk Show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, weekly, 8 p.m. until. We do have a telephone number, 340-2019-005. You can also text us on that number as well. But most importantly, you have to go to our website, streaming live from the vi.com. Go to our website, click on Watch Us Live. And as Soup likes to say, tell a friend, tell a neighbor to go on our website right now, and you'll be able to see the show tonight because we do have a special guest in the studio. We also have email, streaming live from the vi@yahoo.com. Send us an email if you're too shy to call or text. It'll pop up right here, and we'll respond almost instantaneously. We are in a high-tech, low-tech studio coming to you from an undisclosed location here in St. Croix, Virgin Islands. No radio, no TV, internet only. So get your Android, your iOS, your iPad, your tablet, your Mac or your Windows PC. Just simply open up your browser, your IE, your Safari, your Firefox. Type in streaming live from the vi.com. You'll be able to see the show tonight. All our recorded live shows are on YouTube and Ustream.tv. Just search for our channel. It's Your Perspective Talk Show. Right around 300 shows, Soup.
Yes.
We're just blazing it up,
Yeah,
2 Facebook pages. It's Your Perspective Talk Show, and one for our website, streaming live from the vi.com. Want to give a big super duper shout out to CHS class of 1982. That's the year that Soup and I are representing. Want to hail up the whole entire crew. If you're out there listening, give us a call, send us a text, let us know where you are, how you doing. But most importantly, Soup, to all our past guests, thanks for being on the show. We're on Twitter as well, VI Perspective. Tweet with us. We're moving straight forward and up. The show's mission is just to inform, entertain, and empower everyone. And Soup has been blessing us with some powerful words. You ready, Soup?
Yes, I.
All right, man. Blaze that mic, man.
Greetings to one and all. Rastafari lives. This is His Majesty's speech on Christmas. His Majesty was a devout Christian. He followed Christianity all the way. When Jesus Christus was born from the Virgin Mary, from that time on, he lived an exemplary life, a life which men everywhere must emulate. This life and the faith that he taught assures us of salvation, assures us also of harmony and the good life upon earth. Because of that exemplary life of Jesus Christus, it is necessary that all men do the maximum in the human example that has been set by him. It is quite true that there is no perfection in humanity. We all have sinned from time to time. We make mistakes. As we do that, deep in our hearts, as Christians, we know that we have forgiveness from the Almighty. He taught us that all who seek him shall find him, to live in his healthy life, a life that is taught us that all who seek him shall find him. For Christian people, no day is as glorious as the joyous as the day of which they commemorate the nativity of our Savior Jesus Christus. And this day, each one of us tries to forget his worries and anxieties and endeavors of the world, to alleviate of those loved ones and our friends, and to forgive those who have wronged us, so as only to meditate on the life of him and the supreme Lord of all. From our early childhood, we are struck with the sentiments of the unfathomable mystery, simple and yet sublime, which stirs us as the evocation of the birth of the divine child. The mystery of Bethlehem reveals itself in our spirits, more fascinating the more advanced on the path of life, and the more we realize the magnitude of the mission each one of us has to accomplish in this world, be it humble, noble, odious, or thankless. An unheard of event expected for more than 40 centuries has at last been accomplished. The Son of God is born. He has only a stable for his palace and a manger for his cradle. The hearts of the wise are thrilled by this majestic humility, and the kings of the earth bend their knees before him and worship him. peace on earth, goodwill to men. This was the first message. In the same manner, when he went to the summit of Calvary to expedite our sins, with the supreme sacrifice he gave for his last breath, invocating forgiveness for his very tormentors. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. In pondering over the life, the goodness, humility, and the sacrifice of our Savior of the world, in looking at the laws which he gave us, how much should we be ashamed to call ourselves Christian people and yet not to follow his footsteps? Had we been Christian people, we have been worthy of the name. Peace would have reigned on all the face of the earth, and we would not have risen to the level, and we would have risen to the level of immortal angels who always glorified the divine eternal God, and the peoples of the world will no longer have remained divided into hostile camps. In every truth, there is no interest or reason, however legitimate they may be, that can justify war. Give thanks and praise. Rastafari lives.
Yes, I Soup. Thanks for that.
Yes, I.
So as we continue on here, man, we do have a special guest in the studio. There he is right there. Jean J. Picou. Did I get that right?
You did, yes.
Okay. He is an editor and director. Thanks for coming out tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So we wanted to get you in here because I know that you were somewhat directly involved in a new documentary that you're the editor and the director of, along with one of your, I guess your co-workers, I guess is the safest way to put that.
Or cohort. That'd be better.
Cohort, okay.
Yeah, Joan Keenan, yes.
Okay. And so tell us, before we get into that, tell us a little bit about, sort of your background a little bit and, how you kind of got involved in this particular project.
I moved to St. Croix in 2003, and I left behind. My other life was in advertising in Baltimore, Maryland. Moved down here. I got involved through just random acts. I got involved in doing some documentaries, some little videos and things for Department of Education and things like that. And through that, I met Joan Keenan. She was a retired teacher over at Charles H. And she had started a video club with her students over there, ex-students. They had some video equipment sitting around, not going to use at all. So she decided to start a little club. And she got my name from a friend, mutual friend. And I got brought on as a sort of club consultant, creative consultant for the club.
Okay.
Help them write scripts and do outlines and interview techniques, things like that, setting up camera properly, those kind of basics. And from there, we just kind of we went from there. So
okay,
yeah,
okay. And so this particular documentary here. So obviously you're not a. Are you a veteran?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
I am not. No,
okay.
My father, brother, and many other people I know are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but getting directly involved with this, how did that come about?
This came about because in 2007. Well, I'd say probably the year before that, Joan, Library of Congress had been doing something called the Veterans Video Project, I think is the proper name, and in DC. And they were collecting video testimonies from World War II vets. And Joan came across this, and being a retired teacher, she needed something to keep herself busy. So she decided that she was going to go around the Virgin Islands and videotape vets here.
Okay.
And submit them to the library. Once she got started, she realized that these guys had a pretty unique experience heading off to war, so she decided that maybe this might be something different. It might turn into something more, and it did. It turned into our first movie, which was Proudly We Served Virgin Islands Veterans of World War II.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where it started. So that one's it's a good movie. We're very proud of it. It's a little rough. we were kind of learning as we were going.
Right.
And zero budget as usual, and So, but we got a good product out, and people were proud of it. We were proud of it. So
Okay.
that's really where it started. That was in 2007.
Okay.
Is this something that publicly that the public will buy?
They can. Right now, the DVDs are we're selling them out of our trunk, basically.
Right, right.
Technically, we're not selling them. They are offered a $15 donation.
Okay.
Is what they cost, and the money goes to the American Legion, who is our sponsor for this DVD.
Okay.
They helped us produce this.
Right.
So that's where all the money goes. We don't make any money off of this. This is strictly for them. So to your question, though, can you buy it? Yes. Right now, all the DVDs live at the different American Legion posts. They all
Okay.
have copies of both movies. The first one, World War II, and the Vietnam one we just finished. So if anybody wants a copy, they can stop into any one of those posts here on St. Croix. In fact, I got my little cheat sheet here.
Right.
There's 3 on St. Croix here, 1 in Frederickstead, 1 Mid-Island, and 1 in Christiansted. And St. Thomas has 1 post, the Patrick U. George post, and that's St. Thomas. St. John has the Vigo Sewer Post 131.
Okay.
So each island has a couple posts, and,
Right.
and each post has lots of DVDs. We are working on getting the DVD for sale through the website,
Okay.
which will be very soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is these guys actually fought in the war that did this documentary now, right?
The World War II one, that story was mostly about segregation.
Okay.
That was their unique experience that I was referring to. They left an island where they had no real experience with racism or prejudice or anything like that, really.
Right.
To head out to New Orleans, or I'm sorry, Louisiana in the Deep South, where all the boot camp training was. That was just a rude awakening for them. And because of segregation, because of the times, a lot of those guys were just sent to do, they were in mechanic depots and working on cars. They didn't really get to into any combat.
The front line.
Right, exactly. So
Okay.
that was the story in World War II. Vietnam was a little different. Times are changed. Still racism, still prejudice.
Right.
They each had their own, experience with that. But unfortunately, a lot of these guys did get sent to Vietnam, right into the bush and right into war. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you've had an opportunity to meet, obviously, the guys that are in this this documentary.
Sure. Yeah. We did all the interviews. We had a great team. Who Lieutenant Colonel Brian O'Reilly was our interviewer, and he works for the National Guard. So that was a great way to get guys,
Right.
Not calm. I don't want to say calm, but feel at ease. is
Open
a better way
up,
to say it.
right,
Yeah,
yes,
and
yes.
so he was incredible. Did a great job. We have a writer, Dr. Roberta Knowles. She is a retired English professor from UVI. Mm-hmm. She wrote our script. We got together, basically wrote an outline. She took that outline and made a great script.
Right.
Did all the research, which it was a lot. So that script, with that script, Brian was able to sit down and really pull this information out of these guys. Who,
Right,
some of
right.
them just absolutely did not want to talk, and it was kind of tough. Others, we had to
Right.
cut it short. We got to make our flight back to St. Croix. So we had both ends of the spectrum.
Oh, so you went to St. Thomas and St. John too?
Oh, sure. We interviewed a total. I'm gonna get this number wrong, but I want to say it's about 29 vets total
Right.
that agreed to be interviewed.
Okay.
There were a lot more than that, but some backed out,
Okay.
for whatever reasons. But yeah, so we traveled between the 3 islands and made sure we covered all 3,
How
and we were able to do that.
how were you able to link up with these other brothers from the different islands? Through the Vietnam affairs, to the Veterans Affairs, or
Veterans Affairs was a huge help.
Okay.
The former head of the Veterans Affairs was Harry Daniel, and he was our biggest fan. He did whatever needed to be done, and he helped us connect with a lot of these guys. He tracked them down, gave the numbers to Joan, who is our producer, and that's her job to call these guys up and plead, let me get your story, please. And,
Right.
and that support from the Veterans Affairs continued with Patrick Farrell, the new director. He did a great job too, just helping us, find guys and get the word out, basically. Yeah.
Okay. Is Joan a veteran?
Joan is not. She's she was in the. She's got an honorary title right now. She's a lieutenant colonel, I think. All the
really?
vets kind of promoted her to lieutenant colonel. Yeah. So
Okay.
they all love her.
Okay.
But no, she was in the Peace Corps.
Oh, she's in the Peace Corps. Okay.
She was, yeah, and settled here on St. Croix after the Peace Corps and taught for many, many, many years, long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you take away? And you got a chance to meet all these different veterans. I mean, what did you learn? I mean, what was their story? I mean,
well, the first thing I learned is there's a reason you say thank you for your service to these veterans, because there is no I say there's no way that I would have been able to do this.
Right.
It's just what these guys had to go through. So there's a reason why you say thank you, and taking a look at this movie and being able to do these interviews. That's the first thing I took away. The second thing is similar to the World War II vets. It was a rude awakening. I mean, a lot of these guys had never been off island ever, and at 18, they are literally get on the plane. We're going to Puerto Rico. From Puerto Rico to the States.
Right.
And training starts, and the racism is just rampant, and it's terrible. So. They weren't able to escape that part of it. I mean, the civil rights movement was going on in the States, and that was sort of a thing happening over there.
Right.
A lot of those guys said, until they got there and they realized, oh my God, this is real. This is real, yeah.
Yes.
And it was not pleasant for a lot of them. So that was tough. That was tough to hear about. And they had those two things probably were the umbrella experience for all of them. They each had their own individual issues and problems and things that they went into. So, unfortunately, we weren't able to get all of it into the movie. The movie would have been many hours long.
Right.
So it was tough editing that movie to get it down to what we call a linear, get it so that it followed the outline and things like that. But
so the movie itself is how long?
Movie is 55 minutes long.
Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, so what we have, we're going to play that shortly here, is just maybe about 5-6 minutes. It sort of touches. I looked at it a little bit. I guess there's some introductions and.
Right. This what you're going to see is a trailer that I edited to. Initially, it fulfills our grant obligation to get a public showing at a certain point during the process. So you've got to present it to the public and say, here's what we're doing, what do you think, and get feedback and all that kind of stuff. So we were only partway through, edited this trailer together and had a public showing and invited people to come out and see and get feedback and reviews and things, so we can correct our direction and things like that. Yeah.
So how was the public response to it?
Oh, it was great. It was great, which we were happy and thrilled to hear. It was good. A lot of great criticism. That was the first time we got a lot of the vets out together, and so we're there to see the trailer, but really the conversation immediately goes off to what can we do for vets? How can we help them? We get to hear some stories that weren't in the movie, things like that. So. It just turns into a whole thing, which is great. Is great, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is the dialogue been followed up on now? Are we following up to continue to help these guys?
I sure hope so.
Okay.
And that's where Director Farrell comes in. He is, that guy is busy. He is trying. He is, and he picked up right where Harry Daniel left off. It's been a theme at all of these viewings. And we've had a bunch so far with this Vietnam one, where the help is out there. It's just, and it's another unique experience that VI vets have. You're a vet in the States. It's tough, yes, but you could literally drive to or walk to or whatever the case may be to your local clinic and get help here. It's just the way it's set up. It's just tough. They've got to go to Puerto Rico.
Yes.
And So they're just it just adds to it.
Yes.
And then any little bit of red tape, lots of times technology gets in the way a little bit. So the Veterans Affairs is really trying to streamline all of that and make it as easy as possible to get the guys in, to get the help, and to get the money that's basically, in most cases, just sitting there.
Yeah.
It's there for them. They just have to sign up, follow a couple of, procedures, and they can get the help they need.
They get the help they need, yeah.
But even then, when they do, lots of times the vets will tell you, well, I signed up, I did all that, but I still have to go to Puerto Rico, and I got to wait and make appointments, and, so it's not easy at all, and it needs to be fixed. It really does.
Yeah. How many veterans do you think are here that served in that war there?
In Vietnam, at the beginning of the movie, we have a figure 1,400 served.
Okay.
And that's give or take,
Right.
The records are really tough, which Joan and Dr. Knowles found when researching this was it was tough to figure out who the VI veterans were because everybody was processed through Puerto Rico, and so that's how it shows up when you
go to Puerto Rico. Okay.
Yeah. So one of the main ways was to use their Social Security numbers, which the VI had a unique number, so you had to search that way.
Yeah,
Right.
backtrack that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we got around 1,400. That was the number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a huge number.
It was a lot. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. For such
Was
a
it
small
one
place.
period of time they went, or was it several times they was shipped off, or if there was anything recorded or anything like that?
As far as tours, how many different tours they went
Yes.
to? Yeah. No, we didn't really have that information. The guys that we interviewed, they were all basically there about the same time.
Okay.
It's the same window.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we didn't have the specifics on when. At least we didn't put that in the movie, I should say.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay. So what were some of the stories? You said that they all experienced kind of some racism. They left here, went to Puerto Rico to process, and then to the States, and then from there, I guess they went overseas.
Yeah. They had different. There's a couple of stories in the movie where the first back of the bus situation came up. One of the guys gets on the bus to go into town from training camp. Not knowing any, just sit down on the bus, normal. And one of his fellow soldiers went to the bus driver and complained and said, "Hey, that guy's got to go back to the back of the bus." And so the bus driver said, "Hey, wait a second, where are you from?" I'm paraphrasing the story.
Right,
He
yes,
tells it a lot better.
Yes.
And the bus driver asks him, where are you from? He says the Virgin Islands. Well, the bus driver has no idea where that is. All he knows is it's not Alabama. It's not, anywhere.
Exactly.
So he says, don't worry, he's not one of them. Don't worry about it. So everybody's fine because he's from,
He's from someplace else.
from someplace else. Yeah, he's one of those other blacks. So that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
not
that's hard.
getting
That's
served.
hard. Yeah,
It is.
yeah,
It is.
Yeah, that's hard.
Not getting served in restaurants. Stuff like that. They go in with, white.
White only and black only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any women veterans?
We could not find any.
Oh, really? Okay.
And we tried, or I should say, Joan really tried. We tried to get that angle in there because we were able to do it in the World War II one, believe it or not. But this one, we could find one reference to one woman who, as far as we could tell, she was maybe with nurses, the Medicorps, and she flew into Vietnam at one point, maybe with soldiers back and forth. But it was too not clear enough what she did, and trying to track people down is tough too. So, but we did try. We did try.
Yeah. So in general, these veterans that are still here and alive, I mean, how are they doing? Are they good spirits? I mean,
I'd say 50-50. I'd say half the ones we interviewed or agreed to be interviewed are doing great. But there's that percentage, maybe not 50-50, 70-30, I would say.
okay.
But 30% of them, still living it, and it's
Still
tough.
living it.
And this is 2016, and some of the guys had never talked about this. Their wives, pull us aside later and said, "Man, he has never said any of this to me in the 40 years that we've been married. Never
Yes.
talked about it.
Whoa.
Never
Yes.
And so we've gotten a lot of good feedback that way, you know, from
Right.
family members saying thank you, and even the vets themselves, you know, thanks, I haven't talked about this, or, you know. Doesn't mean it goes away. They still have...
Still have that, yes. They still
yeah.
live it. They still live it every day.
Right. So a lot of medication, you know, counseling, things like that are still going on to this day for these guys. So, yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna take a look at this this trailer here.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get this right here, and then we're gonna take a look at this thing here real quick. Let me get this positioned here. What's going on here with my mouse? Crazy here. All right, so we're gonna take a look at this, and we'll be right back. Stand by.
$58,282 American patriots. It's here we feel the depth of your sacrifice. And here we see a piece of our larger American story. Our founders, in their genius, gave us a task. They set out to make a more perfect union. And so it falls to every generation to carry on that work, to keep moving forward, to overcome a sometimes painful past, to keep striving for our ideals. And one of the most painful chapters in our history was Vietnam.
Of course, I'm born in the Virgin Islands, St. Croix, and I was in the bush, you know, horseback riding
And I grew up on Prince Street in Frederiksted. I am the 6th child of the 13 kids my mother and father had. And we had a lot of kids around here, young guys, and we played ball together with each other every afternoon after school. That was one of the things that we really wanted to do and liked doing.
Life in St. Thomas was real good. It was, at the time, it was poor for us. In the Virgin Islands, it wasn't as lucrative as it is now. You know? So our family was a big one. I had 11 sisters and 8 brothers. So it's huge. So our family was our own entertainment at the time.
I volunteered into the Air Force in 1969 because I had received an induction notice from the military service, and I was not interested in being in the Army or a combat situation. So I decided to join the Air Force because my assumption was that I would have been able to survive. And the fact that I'm here today is indicative of that good choice that I made.
Directly out of high school. I graduated in June of 1966. September of 1966, I was on my way to Fort Benning, Georgia. And they drafted us because, again, you know, when looking at the Vietnam War, it was getting more and more intense, so they just was finding personnel wherever they could.
When I was 18, they drafted me. I went to Puerto Rico, and when I got there, we took the test, and they told me I was disqualified. So I said, well, okay. Now when I reached 22, they called me again. And now I'm mad because I had plans. I wanted to get married, and I didn't want to go in the Army now.
This is AFBN, serving the American fighting man 24 hours a day from the Delta to the DMZ. With transmitters in Quang Tri, Da Nang, Quy Nhon, Picou, and Matrix. With the key network station in Saigon, Vietnam.
In the compound where I lived, I had an operating room under the ground. And one day I was coming up after operating, and my sergeant grabbed me by my belt and pulled me down. There was a sniper shooting at us. And the colonel said, "Get that so-and-so. He's shooting at the dock." And in less than 3 minutes, the tree and the sniper disappeared.
Went on the firefight early in the morning, 4 o'clock. We got into whatever area we was to, and about 10 o'clock or 10:30, we encountered enemy fires. But we was trapped because they were shooting from 3 sides. So the only side they won't fire from is where we were coming from. So we had to fight our way towards the front where they had these bunkers. And they were in bunkers and then digging through foxholes. And so we lost a lot of guys, we had a lot of injuries, we had deaths. So by the time we got through with that fight, it was about 7, 8 o'clock at night. We get the helicopters to get the wounded out, but we had to place our dead side by side and till the next day.
I was sitting on a wall of sandbags, and we were just having general conversation, complaining about being where we were and thinking about what we're going to do if we make it out of there. And I just happened to ask him the question, you think the VC are going to help us celebrate July 4th? And as the words came out of my mouth, a mortar round went off behind him. And all of a sudden, just boom. And the explosion blew him into me and knocked us both into the pit. He lived, but his back, wow. Yeah, he lived.
All right, we are back. This is the Each Your Perspective Talk Show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Today is Wednesday, March 9th, 2016. It's about 8:45 p.m. Our guest in the studio tonight is Jean J. Picou.
I was going to let you keep going.
That's a tongue twister, man. So wave to the crowd. Our viewers are seeing you right now. So that was pretty interesting. Those guys seem to be sort of very. There's a lot of emotion. You can see when, especially they're talking. It looks like they're just thinking back to the very time when those things happen. And it seems still very difficult for them to even talk about it.
Exactly. Yeah, and every one of those interviews was basically like that. There was. Just moments where nothing was being said because they were A, trying to remember, but right. B, trying to get the words right, and really it was getting it was touching them again. So
yeah. And any of those veterans, like are they angry or bitter in any capacity about
a lot of them, yeah. Not necessarily about being drafted. A lot of them in the full movie, you'll see. Mostly about coming home. I think they did what they had to do. They went, went over, but I think coming home, again another experience that shouldn't have happened.
Right.
So that was difficult, and that brought up a lot of anger. And then being asked about the VA and do you think you're being taken care of, and that that brought up another level of anger.
Yes.
So not so much about the war, it's after the war.
After the war.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Have any of those guys, those veterans, like maybe went back to Vietnam, maybe on a personal level, to visit, Any do you know anything?
A couple did, yeah. One has gone back a couple times for vacations and things like that. But yeah, a couple have been back. Others, no, they want nothing to do with, with that part of the world. They don't.
Right.
They are done with that. But yeah, maybe just a couple.
Okay.
Back over.
So the movie itself, what are some of the kind of other interesting things about it? You said it's 55 minutes long, but just more involved interviewing and more talking to more veterans.
It is. We cover the different sections we cover, so we got a glimpse of what those were in the trailer there. Life in the VI. You'd think I have all this memorized, but after 2 years. Life in the VI. Oh, you know what? I got my little cheat sheet here. Yes, so a little bit of background about the war and what was going on in the States, protests in the States and here. There was a protest scene here in VI also, and that's covered a little bit in the movie, which I didn't know existed. So that was interesting to find.
The protesting for what?
Against the war?
Against
the war here, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mostly at the university, or at the time it was the College of the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
But yeah, there was definitely something going on here with that. So that's covered to begin with. History of the war, the protests. Then we get into life in the VI, just kind of laying the groundwork for where these guys were coming from.
Okay.
Then drafted or enlisted, basic training. Which had its own little funny stories and not so funny stories, and then from basic training to Vietnam.
Okay.
And we get to see and hear a couple more stories about life over there and in the war, in the thick of it, and then from there we go to coming home.
Okay.
And then sort of wrap it up with what they did with their life after the war. A lot of these guys went on to do awesome things. Cops, doctor, you saw a governor in there.
Yeah, right.
So all kinds of different careers. So that's basically the layout of the movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in general, these guys, as you said, are just doing okay. Would probably have some concerns, some issues they're trying to work through.
They really are. Yeah.
Okay.
Amazingly, yes. For what they went through, and but they're doing good. Yeah.
Did any of them, each other while they were over there?
They did. That was a good part of the interviews, is to hear that once they got over. When they were in Puerto Rico, they pretty much knew where all the VI guys were. But once they got to Vietnam, it was a lot more separated.
Right.
But when they were able to find each other there, that was fun.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that was good. So they did find each other, and they didn't necessarily know each other here. So it'd be a St. Croix guy meeting up with a St. Thomas guy over there.
Yes.
They just kind of knew their name.
Yes.
So that was fun to hear. So
okay.
But it did happen. Yeah.
It did happen. Okay. Okay. Well,
is there any more public showing that's going to take place?
There are. We're working on a few more. We just had one at UVI, and we're going to try to repeat that. UVI here at St. Croix. We're going to try to repeat that on St. Thomas at UVI over there, to give folks a chance to come out and see it over there. We've done a few showings. Initially, when the movie was done, we did a release on each island. We did a premiere on each island.
Okay.
And that was great. All the vets from each island came out with their families, and it was open to the public too. So that was awesome. So, but yeah, we're working on that, and we're going to have 2 showings at the Estate Whim through Landmark Society coming up soon, and I'll have those dates on our website and our Facebook page. Our website, by the way, is pwsvi.org, and you can find us on Facebook with Proudly We Served. But we update it pretty regularly, so we'll have, when we have a showing or something like that, we'll put a post up.
Okay.
But I do want to say, speaking of landmarks, they are starting, and they have a great research library over there, and they are starting an archive, which would have been invaluable to us when we were doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But what they want to do is archive any sort of material from any vets, from their families, and sort of start an archive there. So they're looking for anything, any photographs, discharge papers, any records at all. We're going to get it started with the 2 movies that we've done,
Right.
and we've collected a bunch of information just doing these, along with the individual interviews from each vet. So we're going to get the library started, the archive started with that, but we're encouraging any vets who want to have their stuff saved and archived and professionally done. I mean, they're really good over there. They know what they're doing.
Okay.
To get in touch with Landmarks, and family members, people pass on, and you've got this stuff, and it's just kind of sitting around.
There, right,
yeah,
right.
and they're not taking it; they're just copying it and archiving it. So you can walk with your stuff, but
Right.
but you just know that it's somewhere
Somewhere
for
safe.
a
Right.
student to do that. So if I can just plug the library
Yes,
real
definitely.
quick. 772-0598, and that'll get you to Landmarks, and you can ask for Joan Felix. She is the one running the library over there.
Okay.
And Sonia Dow is the executive director. She started this and wants to continue it. So
Continue. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just going to ask you something there. So, what President Obama? What is his thoughts on veterans? I mean, he did a little piece there in the trailer.
That starts the movie. It's all edited, differently, but it's in the movie, and that was a speech that he gave. I want to say Memorial Day.
Okay.
A few years back. What can I say? He's he tries. I mean, from what I can tell, he's trying. It's just even the president's not above bureaucracy.
Yes, definitely.
he can order and demand all he wants, but if the Veterans Affairs is in rubble, then there's not much he can do about it personally. But from what I can tell, he's been trying. He really
Okay.
has, and a lot of the vets agree. They're not. There's no hostility towards him. They understand what it is, what the problem is. It's a huge machine that's just broken.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to add?
2 things real quick, if I could, back to my cheat sheet. I just want to thank our funders. We had some, it's tough raising money on the island for things, as you know. So just real quick, Virgin Islands Academic and Cultural Awards Endowment. They helped us a lot. VI Office of Veterans Affairs, which I mentioned. Humanities Council and the National Endowment for Humanities. VI Port Authority even donated, and Spartan Concrete were huge donators. The American Legion, Commander David he's a huge fan also,
Right.
and we were able to do this through the American Legion, and he's just been awesome to work with. And one other thing, tonight actually at 9:00 the movie's being aired on Channel 12.
Okay.
And on Saturday, March 12th, it's being aired at 7:00 on Channel 12. And then on Saturday, also March 12th, right after that, at 8:00 is the World War II movie.
Right.
So if you want to, check these things out before you buy a DVD, hopefully soon, you can check out Channel 12, WTJX. They'll be airing those.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Any more questions, Sue?
No, I'm good.
You good?
Gene, I want to thank you again for the work you've been doing, and keep up the good works. And I wish you all the success. Jagai, Rastafari lives, one perfect love.
Yeah, thanks for coming out and sharing this with us. I'm a veteran too, obviously not from that era.
Mm-hmm.
My father was.
Okay.
But he's deceased now. But I'm I guess a modern day kind of veteran. I did some time maybe 100 years ago.
Where did you serve?
I left here. I went to Puerto Rico, and then I ended up in Georgia, and then I ended up overseas.
Okay.
And it was a good time. No wars obviously were going on at that time. President Reagan was the president at the time, so that was a long time ago. But
well, I can say, not to cut you off, I can say that even just recently at our UVI showing, a lot of Iraq veterans and Afghanistan vets.
They come out.
They come out, yeah, and they've been out, and they chime in and tell us how much they appreciate this, and they have their own experiences.
Yes.
So that's been an interesting angle too. A few were bringing up the fact that Vietnam vets really came out for them when they came home, because they kind of promised, they did promise that they wouldn't let happen to vets what happened to them. So they make sure they're at the airports. They make sure they do what they can to welcome those guys back. So that's another angle that we didn't foresee happening, but it's nice to hear.
So. Any plans to do any documentaries on the vets from those eras?
Well, I can tell you, these are taking longer because we're getting better, I think, at them. So they're taking a little longer to do. One we skipped over was Korea, and that's what we're working on now.
Okay.
Proudly, we serve Vietnam Virgin Islands veterans of the Korean War.
Okay.
So we're backtracking a little bit
Right.
and covering that. But I can tell you already, people have asked about women veterans, making a documentary specifically about them of any era. And then soon the Iraq and Afghanistan, things like that. So right now we're gonna tackle Korea, and anybody wants to help us out funding wise, take a look at the movie on Channel 12, see what we do. If you like it, give us a call, contact us through the website or the Facebook page, and please, any funding would be really helpful. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming out and sharing with us.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having us.
Our guest tonight is Jean J. Picou.
There we go.
He's the editor and director of a new movie called Proudly We Serve, Virgin Islands Veterans of the Vietnam War documentary. You can get this movie at the Legion Halls here in St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. And if you want to donate to the cause, hit him up on Facebook, and I'm sure the money will go to I guess make it even better.
Exactly, the next one, yeah.
Make it even better.
That's right.
So on that note, I just want to say thank you again, Soup. Any final words?
Thank you again, Gene, and continue doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
Sir. You're welcome.
And as Soup said, one perfect love. Our prayers and his blessings, when you put it all together, you get one perfect love. So on that note, we want to say thank you to our guests. Thank you, Soup. And we're out. And we'll see you guys again on no show tomorrow night, but we'll be back on Friday. On that note, we're out. Peace. Thank you.